Ladies and gentlemen, the Raiders got a little heated during training camp. There was a skirmish. We will break this down. Plus, the Raiders have also made tons of signings, have released players. Players are getting injured. And we're going to let you know some of the reports coming out of camp from everybody. We're going to let you know what everybody is saying. And this will give us insight on how this roster could shake out this year. A lot is happening as full pads are finally going on. Preseason is less than 2 weeks away. We have a new quarterback. No, it's not a new starting quarterback, but we saw something interesting happen. Even though Chase Garbers, the undrafted free agent from last year, coming out of Cal, even though this guy went on some visits with the Seahawks, he ended up signing back with the Raiders. You could see him here warming up with Aiden O'Connell. Now, I don't know what this means in particular because they released Chase Garbers. Now they're bringing him back. I do not think the Raiders are going to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster this year. So Garbers is likely competing with somebody on the bottom of the depth chart, somebody like Aiden O'Connell. We'll see how preseason shakes out, and it should be really interesting to see 2 young quarterbacks in preseason, a more mobile guy like Chase Garbers and a true pocket passer in Aiden O'Connell. And the Raiders signed a former Super Bowl champion. I'm not sure he's solely responsible for the Super Bowl, but they signed linebacker Darius Harris, who had 4 starts last year, has been playing with the Chiefs since 2019, mainly a special teams contributor. This guy's undrafted. He's 27 years old, still trying to prove himself in the NFL. We'll see how he shakes out. And another guy who was praised by the Raiders, he even went on the Raiders YouTube channel 3 days ago, loving up Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, unfortunately, it has come to an end for OJ Howard. The tight end room is getting crowded, and the Raiders have waived OJ Howard, the former first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And people on Twitter were pointing this out. The Raiders saying OJ Howard is ready to show out for the silver and black. And then the very next day, they waived tight end OJ Howard. But on the bright side for OJ Howard, this gives him an opportunity to find a new team while training camp is still going on. And for the Raiders, it looks like Michael Mayer is ready to be the #1 tight end. You still have Austin Hooper there, and Jesper Horsted, who was on the team last year, seems to be doing quite well. And this move for the Raiders came at a small cost. They'll be eating $450,000 in dead money, but overall, they're saving $600,000 against the cap. In addition to waiving OJ Howard, the Raiders also waived Justin Murray, who's a veteran right tackle, about 30 years old, and also linebacker Mauga. And speaking of Michael Mayer, now positioning himself to be the tight end #1 for the Raiders, drafted in the 2nd round, well, Max Crosby gave him a welcome to the NFL moment he was getting after his ass at practice. And you have Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal saying that training camp practice was not a fun experience for Michael Mayer, and Max Crosby just wore the rookie tight end out over and over. And that's great to see, the fact that when you're going up against somebody like Max Crosby, that's going to make week 1 against the Denver Broncos and lame-ass Sean Payton a walk in the park for Michael Mayer. And there has been hype with the cornerback room so far, especially with the addition of Marcus Peters, but unfortunately, Brandon Faison was carted off with a leg injury. This happened at practice today. We don't know the severity of the injury, but you know when that cart comes out, that's when it's a little serious. Now, it could be possible that the Raiders are just taking precaution with the guy and they didn't want him to walk. So let's hope it's not too serious. The Raiders signed Brandon Faison to a 2-year contract this past offseason. He was with the Colts last year and previously with the Raiders before then. There are some surprise people playing running back since Josh Jacobs is not there. And I'm not just talking about Zamir White. Sincere McCormick is balling out at practice. This guy was undrafted last year and he joined the Raiders, but was stashed on IR for the majority of the year. And so we don't know this guy's potential, and he's definitely going to get an opportunity this year. And according to Sports Illustrated, it's been a running back committee at training camp. You've seen Zamir White and Brandon Bolden getting an even split of carries. And then you have Amir Abdullah and Sincere McCormick primarily getting the targets, the receptions out of the backfield. And it really seems like Josh Jacobs is not coming back because the Raiders worked out even more running backs. They worked out former Chief Damian Damian Williams, and also former Patriots running back Rex Burkhead. He's had a lot of reps with them, a lot of time with McDaniels. I would not be surprised if Burkhead is signed tomorrow. Burkhead is more of a pass catching back, while Williams is more of a power back. So if Jacobs is not there, expect a committee for the Raiders this year. And we know Jimmy Garoppolo had a bad day at practice yesterday before the pads went on. There was 2 back-to-back interceptions. He did eventually get a touchdown to Devontae Adams, but everybody was saying it was a rough day. Even people who simp for Josh McDaniels were saying it was a rough day for Garoppolo yesterday. However, he bounced back today when the pads are on, and that's what really matters. The fact that the pads are on and he's getting better and looking nice, better on the immediate to deep throws on 1-on-1 and 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills were more run focused. So we still don't know how exactly well Garoppolo did in 11-on-11. And that's why it's kind of odd that things got heated, and things got extremely heated between Max Crosby and Jimmy Garoppolo. Sort of surprising to see a quarterback get into it with the edge defender, but Crosby had to take a lap after. So I don't know exactly what he did, but he must have done something so bad that the coaching staff had to discipline Max Crosby. And we know Max Crosby got physical with Michael Mayer. It was a physical practice overall. That's what all the reporters were talking about. The fact that the Raiders were tackling people to the ground. You don't often see that at training camp, even in full padded practice. Sometimes they have a no tackling to the ground rule, but the Raiders wanted to get physical and make sure they're ready for week 1. So it seems like they're going all out, and that's probably why things got a little chippy out there between Max Crosby and Jimmy Garoppolo getting into it on 11-on-11. That's absolutely insane. So either Garoppolo has swagger like Crosby alluded to before, and he's not afraid to talk trash, but if things got chippy, that means there's extra physical activity. That means Max Crosby literally got heated at Garoppolo. I wonder what Garoppolo said, what he did. But the positive from this is that you know that training camp is competitive. You know people are getting passionate, and you know Garoppolo is not afraid to stand his own even against a player like Max Crosby, who is one of the captains on the Raiders team. Perhaps Jimmy Garoppolo was hyping up Jermaine Illuminor because you got Eddie Pascal from Raiders team media pointing out that Illuminor versus Crosby has not disappointed, meaning it's not just Crosby winning all the reps, and Jermaine Illuminor is able to hold his own as a right tackle. Also, when talking about running backs, Josina Anderson had this tweet here, which a lot of people are taking and assuming that a deal could get done with the Raiders and Josh Jacobs, which is kind of odd because her tweet is actually not reporting any new news. And a lot of people are assuming this is new news because Josina Anderson is an NFL insider, but all she says is her understanding what she thinks. She's not saying that she's being told something or reporting anything new, but her understanding is the Raiders are open to starting talks with Jacobs with the hopes of getting him to rejoin the team. But the Raiders cannot sign Jacobs to a multi-year contract. That ship is sailed because he's on the franchise tag and it's already August. So they're not able to do that. The only thing they can do is give him a bonus just like the Giants did for Saquon Barkley. But it does not seem like that is actually going to happen, or else it would have happened already. And Jacob seems like he wants guarantees for multi-year deals. And I think the Raiders are working out running backs, people like Rex Burkhead, because they think it is probably over between them and Josh Jacobs. So Josina Anderson has this report, but I honestly don't think there's much to it. It's great that training camp is happening, full padded practice. You guys know we're keeping you up to date with all the news that matters here on this channel. We also have an interesting video about an interview that Josh McDaniels did. He talked about Jimmy Garoppolo and had some kind of weird comments. So make sure you check this video out if you have not yet as well. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.